how much longer will it take for Oregon to finally win their first national championship? Oregon, to me, is a blue blood program. Throughout the course of the 2010s, they've been to several national championships. They've been in the college football playoffs. They just have been unable to finally win the big one. But eventually it has to happen with how much NIL money Dan Lanning has been throwing at recruits out of high school and in the transfer portal. It's not a matter of if Oregon is capable of winning a national championship anymore. It's just a matter of when. But when is that day going to happen? When are we finally going to see Oregon hoisting up that all-gold national title trophy? I think that it's coming pretty soon. It can happen this year. It can happen next year. From now to 2030, it's the timeline that I have for Oregon winning a national title. I did not know that Dan Lanning was only 39 years old. He's one of the youngest coaches in all of college football. And what's scary about Dan Lanning is that he's only getting better. Every season that he's been at Oregon up to this point, his record has gotten better. From 10 wins his first season to all of a sudden increasing that in year 2 and year 3 when they went a perfect 13-0. And then they got screwed by winning their conference championship and then getting rewarded coming off a bye, having to play the juggernaut that is Ohio State. Oregon is very close to becoming a powerhouse in this sport if you don't view them as that already. Dan Lanning was assistant under Nick Saban and Kirby Smart, who are two of the best coaches that college football has seen of this past generation. And Nick Saban being the greatest all time to ever coach this sport, Kirby Smart probably is on his way to becoming one of the GOATs as well. And Dan Lanning has had a first-hand glimpse of what it takes to build that kind of team that Nick Saban and Kirby Smart have been able to put together that has won championships. And you see that in Oregon's DNA. You can't compare Oregon to your run-of-the-mill West Coast team that's all about finesse, like what Lincoln Riley has been at USC. The difference between Oregon and the rest of the teams on the West Coast is that they're recruiting some absolute monsters on the line of scrimmage. When you watch Oregon play and you see the kind of defensive linemen, offensive linemen that they had, they're 6'8", 250 pounds, running 4'7", 4'8". Those are the kind of guys that you see Georgia recruit. Now it's getting to a point when you see a guy in the transfer portal, you see a guy in high school recruiting, and you look at their size, you look at their measurables, you look at their 40 time, and you go, yeah, that's either a Georgia or Oregon offensive defensive lineman. At one point last season when Oregon was pulverizing Illinois, I thought that college football should have straight up banned Oregon because they didn't deserve to be playing college football anymore. They should have just thrown Oregon in the NFL because that's what they look like. They look like an NFL team. Oregon just looks so different from everybody else outside of when they play Ohio State. It's not even close. I don't know what the hell Dan Lanning is feeding those players, but those players aren't human. There are a lot of players on that Oregon team that are moving a way that they shouldn't be able to move at their size. Like, everybody is just a freak athlete down there. And that's what is eventually going to win Oregon a national championship within the next 4 or 5 years because they just have cyborgs up front. Oregon under Chip Kelly used to be a team that was just going to kill you with speed because they weren't able to assemble the rosters comprised of the blue chip talent as what Oregon is able to put on the field now. Now Oregon can cook you up with the Jimmies and Joes and scheme you up with the X's and O's because Dan Lanning also has an incredible eye for spotting great coaches. I mean, name one time that Dan Lanning has missed with one of his position coaches. Hell, his defensive coordinator, people want his job. And yet, I don't even think he's that bad. Oregon fans won't have to wait too much longer to finally have a national championship in that trophy case. It's going to happen eventually. It can either happen within 6 months, within the next 365, within the next 2-3 years, but it's going to happen by 2030. Mark my words. Screen record this, screenshot it, save it to your watch list, do whatever you got to do if you're listening on YouTube, because Oregon will win a national championship within that span under Dan Lanning. This dude is a head coaching prodigy. Other than Kalen DeBoer, I believe that Dan Lanning is the second best head coach in college football without a national championship. Oregon was his first ever coaching job. And at the age of 39, all this program has done is get better and better year after year record-wise and performance on the field. They are crushing recruiting. They are bringing in some of the best recruiting classes in the history of that program. You got Phil Knight's unlimited NIL blessings just flowing through that program. You're more than just a school that has 100 different uniform combinations. You are a school that not only looks good, but plays good, and eventually is going to result in a national championship.